We all know scheduling, it's easy to have a calendar that becomes unrealistic. Sunshine, could you talk a little bit about the challenges that, you face as a leader of a consulting organization in this problem of scheduling?
So we talked already about, the importance of hiring the right people with the right product expertise, right? That 100% is going to affect customer success. The other area, though, is, finding the right people who are interested in customer service, right? Who are responsive, who care about their clients, who want to see them successful. And often when you're finding those consultants, usually they are struggling with scheduling. Usually they're saying yes more often than no. They're saying yes before they've checked calendars, they've checked budget, and all of those things. And we want them to continue to say yes, right? But we want them to say yes effectively. And so one of the areas that we really struggle with is helping them to manage their time and helping them to schedule projects appropriately. What I found is Movila has really been successful in helping us to, when our consultants are doing that, because they're doing it often, that they're able to immediately see, not later, but immediately see real time the effect on adding tasks or committing to meetings on the schedule that weren't there before. Both with the RPAC score, again, if it's we've got a bottleneck on a deliverable, or we've committed to something that there's just not enough time to commit to yet, and we haven't pushed out deliverables and such or met with our teams, the system and technology is telling them, hey, there's an issue, we need to take action on this. And Carmen, again, is making suggestions on how to adjust the schedule appropriately, how to have those conversations with the client in terms of, this is either going to push the go live out sometime, or you've got some, issues with some of your deliverables here, and to make some suggestions there. So Movila is really helping us to be proactive versus reactionary, or worse, not deliver on the commitments that we've said yes to.
Yeah. And, as you mentioned, Sunshine, empathy is such an important skill and attribute of a consultant. And yet it's a double-edged sword, because that can also mean, saying yes too much of the time. That's great to hear that you really have a systematic approach to balancing that. So, Mike, could you talk a little bit from the technology perspective, in terms of this challenge of scheduling? How does software, or how can software actually help in this area?
So there are a lot of things that technology can do around scheduling. But I guess before I jump into that, I think one of the important things, and I think certainly Sunshine would say this, and all people involved in large projects would say, there are going to be scheduling problems. It's inevitable. Now, does it mean the project's going to be late? No, it doesn't necessarily mean it's late, but there are going to be scheduling problems. And the math is irrefutable around this. Now, the question is, when you have that scheduling problem, how much advance notice do you have? Do you find out that there's going to be a problem 2 days before the problem, or 2 months before the problem? So how do we solve this and give ourselves as much notice as possible? Because customer satisfaction is much better when they find out about a problem really early as opposed to last minute. The no surprise rule is what a lot of customers like. And the devil's in the details here. The good news is the information's already out there. You don't have to enter new data, but we have our personal or our work calendars and schedules. We have the schedule in the project plan that says what work we have to do and who's responsible and how long. But all of that data has to be examined every single day, multiple times a day, every time those tasks change, and throw alerts to let you know, hey, it just turned out one of our consultants has got to be out of the office because they're taking their mother in for knee surgery for 2 weeks. That just completely blew up, not just this project, but it's going to have a cascade effect in our portfolio. And finding that out early is critical. And computers are really, really good at doing that kind of continuous autonomous math if those data points are all connected. And once again, the devil's in the details. Swags are bad. I'll say that again later. Saying, oh, they're on this 10% or 20%, 40%. That's not life. Nobody works 40% every week in a project. They work 100% for 3 days, and then nothing for 7, and then 120% for 3 days. So having that accurate atomic level detailed data gives you an accurate picture of where the scheduling problems are early. That's the key point. Finding out about problems early so you have the most time and the best way to solve those problems.
Absolutely, Mike. The more lead time on projects for preparation to, sort of insulate the problems as a result of change, the better. And, to your point, scheduling is both an art and a science. The science of scheduling says you know the scope of the project and you can identify the tasks and timeline to perform them. But there's an art that is more elusive that brings, sort of the reality into play. The art is understanding that, priorities shift, people change, effort estimates are less than perfect. There's external events like COVID and, all kinds of things that can put a monkey wrench in the best laid plans. And, really being able to guard against that uncertainty and volatility, that are facts of life is so key. And, certainly, the infrastructure that HRMS has in place as a result of the Muvula technology is so helpful in this area. At Raven, in terms of the data that we have, 38% of projects that customers review are late. And half of those 38% are late by 2x or more. 35% of projects are over budget. So, schedule changes are fact of life. When projects are late and over budget, it's closely tied with change orders and in some cases poor scoping on the project. 65% of the time customers will say that the scope was either correct or they changed the scope as a result of something that they didn't know about their organization, or there was external factors, or they wanted to accelerate a portion of the project, something like that. But it's this 18% of time that projects, have change orders because of requirements that were missed during discovery that really impact the overall satisfaction of a project. And so what I would say is in choosing your consulting firm, you want to choose a partner who has a background and expertise in your given software area, knows how to quote projects precisely, like HRMS, and really can very quickly adapt to changes, whether they be on your side or external. And you can easily, look at a track record of success for a partner. They're on time, on budget, sort of markers using the reviews at Raven Intelligence.